Stop chasing women who aren't chasing themselves. Right now, I want you to really feel that most men waste years trying to impress women who are emotionally unavailable, constantly seeking approval or testing their boundaries without ever understanding why. What separates a man who commands attraction effortlessly from one who struggles is not his looks, his money, or even his confidence. It's his ability to refuse to compromise his standards, refuse to accept disrespect, refuse to play into games designed to manipulate him. The women who notice you, desire you, and eventually become obsessed with you are drawn not to what you do for them, but to what you refuse to do. Let me be blunt. A smart man doesn't bend for anyone. He understands that his value isn't defined by the attention he gives. It's defined by the attention he keeps for himself. Imagine a woman texting you late at night, testing whether you'll respond instantly even when you have other priorities. Most men panic and reply immediately, hoping to avoid her disapproval. A man who truly understands female psychology. He waits. He lives his life. He doesn't sacrifice his time. And he communicates on his terms. That waiting isn't cold. It's magnetic. It sends a message louder than words ever could. I have a life you don't control. Now listen carefully. Women subconsciously track how you respond to their subtle tests. Every small concession you make signals something about your self-respect. Every boundary you hold shapes her perception of you as a man who is rare, confident, and valuable. Here's the thing most men never grasp. Attraction is born from scarcity, not availability. The instant you make yourself too available, too eager, too easily swayed, desire begins to fade. Smart men understand the invisible rules and they play them without arrogance, without cruelty, but with unwavering consistency. This refusal also applies to social dynamics. If she disrespects you in public, if she tries to shame you, or if she dismisses your opinion, a smart man refuses to tolerate it. He doesn't argue, he doesn't plead, he simply disengages with quiet certainty. That disengagement triggers something primal. It awakens curiosity. It triggers value reassessment, and it awakens attraction in ways no compliment, gift, or gesture ever could. And yes, women feel this at a deep psychological level. They notice when a man maintains dignity under subtle pressure that dignity becomes intoxicating. Here's the truth. Most men resist. Refusing is not about being stubborn or unkind. It's about self-mastery. It's about aligning your actions with your principles and refusing to sacrifice yourself for temporary approval. It's the same reason high-V value you men refuse to settle for a partner who doesn't challenge them intellectually, emotionally, or morally. You cannot demand respect and desire from others if you hand it away recklessly. Your refusal to bend in small, invisible ways accumulates into power, a power that women are drawn to sometimes without even realizing it. Think about it. Every time you give into pressure, ignore your boundaries, or prioritize someone else's temporary satisfaction over your own growth, you are unknowingly signaling low value. Every refusal, on the other hand, signals strength, independence, and control, qualities that women instinctively seek. Smart men attract women not because they chase them, but because they refuse things that diminish their essence. And this principle doesn't just apply to women. It applies to business, friendships, and every relationship that tests your boundaries. The first step, identify one area today where you have been compromising unnecessarily. Maybe it's responding too quickly to texts. Maybe it's saying yes to someone who doesn't respect your time. Decide firmly that this will no longer happen. Refuse politely, but consistently watch how the dynamics shift around you, how attention changes, and how respect deepens. Let's get specific. Smart men understand that attraction is invisible, subtle, and rooted in psychology. It isn't created by flashy gestures or constant attention. It's created by refusal, by strategically saying no to things that dilute your value. There are four things every high man instinctively refuses, and each refusal triggers a deep, almost magnetic response in women. The first thing a smart man refuses is to compromise his time for someone who doesn't respect it. Your time is your currency, and how you spend it signals your priorities. When a woman sees that you do not bend, that you do not drop everything for her attention, it ignites curiosity. She wonders, who is this man? Why is he unavailable? Why does he have such boundaries? That mystery creates desire. It's not arrogance, it's a clear, silent message. Your attention is earned, not given freely. Women crave men who protect their own life and energy. They subconsciously equate self-respect with value, and value with long-term security and excitement. The second thing is refusing to tolerate disrespect or manipulation. This doesn't mean arguing or fighting. It means quiet consistency when she tests boundaries, makes subtle digs, or attempts emotional manipulation. A smart man does not react out of fear, guilt, or obligation. He calmly reinforces his boundaries or disengages. Here's why this works. Women subconsciously track which men are predictable, reliable, and grounded versus those who can be swayed. Disrespect is a subconscious test, and refusal signals strength. It's a powerful psychological trigger. She feels compelled to reconsider her behavior and at the same time becomes more intrigued by the stability you represent. The third thing is refusing to chase validation or approval. This is huge. Smart men don't need constant reassurance that they are desirable, impressive, or worthy. They radiate confidence because their self-worth is internal. Women are naturally drawn to this because it signals independence and emotional maturity. A man who constantly seeks approval creates subtle tension, doubt, and boredom. But a man who refuses to chase validation, who holds himself with quiet certainty, taps into an ancient subconscious attraction system. She begins to wonder what it is about him, why he doesn't seek her attention, why he stands apart from the crowd, and she begins to pursue without realizing it. The fourth thing is refusing to settle for superficial connections. Smart men are selective. They don't invest in anyone who drains their energy, challenges their integrity, or fails to stimulate them mentally or emotionally. This refusal is magnetic because it reflects high standards and self-respect qualities women unconsciously equate with A. Long-term stability, leadership, and genetic value. When a man refuses the ordinary, he becomes rare. Rarity is a primal trigger for desire. She may initially resist, test, or doubt, but the more she perceives that he won't settle, the stronger her curiosity and attraction grow. Here's the key insight. These refusals are not passive. They are deliberate, conscious choices that shape perception, trigger desire, and maintain boundaries. Women instinctively notice men who refuse in these ways. They may not articulate it, but psychologically, they track who has self-respect, who holds power over their own life, and who cannot be easily swayed. That tracking activates deep emotional circuits that make a woman obsessed with understanding, connecting with, and ultimately valuing a man. Refusing these four things is not about being harsh, unkind, or arrogant. It's about mastering your inner world. It's about aligning your actions with your principles, projecting reliability, strength, and mystery, and creating the invisible tension that pulls her in. When done consistently, these refusals shift every interaction. Women respond unconsciously, their curiosity spikes, their desire intensifies, and the dynamics of attraction, the rules most men are blind to, finally start working in your favor. Now, let's talk about what happens inside her mind when a man consistently refuses these four things. Most men never understand this, and that's why they struggle to create deep, lasting attraction. The truth is, her emotions are being silently rewired every time you hold a boundary, protect your time, or refuse to chase validation. And when she starts feeling this, it can border on obsession, not because you did anything overtly dramatic, but because you became rare, unpredictable, and valuable in ways she can't control. Think about it. Women instinctively test boundaries. They do. It's subconsciously to gauge a man's value. When a man bends, complies, or chases, the test is failed and desire diminishes. But when a man refuses with quiet consistency, something fascinating happens. Her brain starts to register him as high value. She feels tension and curiosity at the same time. She begins to notice the small, almost invisible things he does or doesn't do. And those observations create a mental pattern of intrigue. He becomes memorable because in a world where most men overgive, overexplain, or overcompensate, he stands apart. This process activates deep emotional circuits. She experiences what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Her desire conflicts with her initial resistance. She wonders, consciously or not, why she can't control him, why she feels drawn to him despite her own attempts to test or manipulate. That tension is addictive. Women thrive on emotional stimulation, and a man who refuses to be fully available provides that stimulation in a way no one else can. It's subtle, yet powerful. Every boundary you maintain, every refusal to comply with minor tests compounds into an invisible gravitational pull that she can't shake. Here's another secret. Women often become obsessed with men who reflect qualities they subconsciously desire but can't easily obtain. By refusing time, validation, disrespect, or superficial connection, you're signaling traits they seek at a deep instinctual level: strength, independence, consistency, and mystery. She isn't consciously calculating this. It happens below the surface. She starts thinking about you more than she intends, analyzing your behavior, remembering your words, and feeling compelled to engage on your terms. That is attraction at the highest level, a magnetic, almost hypnotic pull that you generate without ever trying to impress her. And let's be clear, this obsession isn't about manipulation or control. It's a natural response to high value, self-mastery, and boundaries. You don't force it. You simply refuse to diminish your own worth. Women respond instinctively, emotionally, and sometimes irrationally because your behavior communicates something primal. You are a man who respects himself, protects his life, and cannot be easily swayed. That unconscious recognition triggers deep emotional arousal, curiosity, and desire. The more consistent you are, the stronger the effect. Inconsistent refusals create confusion or resentment. Overly rigid refusals can create frustration without desire. The key is quiet consistency, enforcing your boundaries while remaining calm, confident, and emotionally grounded. Every refusal becomes a subtle signal. I am not yours to control. I am my own man. That signal, repeated over time, forms an emotional imprint she can't forget. Finally, understand this. Her obsession doesn't happen overnight. It accumulates, gradually building tension, curiosity, and attraction until her desire is undeniable. Each time she notices that you refuse in ways most men would not, she becomes more intrigued, more emotionally invested, more compelled to seek your approval, your attention, and ultimately your presence. This is the invisible power of refusal, the tool smart men use to create attraction that lasts, rooted in psychology, emotion, and deep subconscious wiring. Now let's move from theory to action. Understanding refusal and its psychological effects is one thing, but applying it consistently in daily life is where most men fail. Smart men don't just know the rules, they live them. Every interaction, every message, every decision becomes an opportunity to reinforce value, maintain boundaries, and trigger subconscious attraction. This is how women start chasing you without even realizing it. Start with your time. Refuse to prioritize anyone who doesn't respect it. That doesn't mean being cold or unavailable. It means living on your terms. If she texts while you're busy, respond when it's convenient for you, not when it's convenient for her. If she expects immediate compliance, don't bend. Every moment you honor your own schedule silently communicates. You are a man with a life, priorities, and self-respect. That magnetic quality is irresistible. She notices it even subconsciously, and it makes her reassess your value. You are no longer one of many. You are rare, and rarity triggers desire. Next, enforce respect consistently. Refuse to tolerate disrespect or manipulative behavior, but do it without drama. If she makes a subtle dig or tests your patience, calmly reinforce boundaries. Don't argue. Don't justify, and don't beg for understanding. Women respond to quiet strength because it signals emotional stability and leadership. That stability becomes a gravitational pull every time you refuse disrespect without reacted. Emotionally, you deepen attraction. You show her without words that you are unshakable, grounded, and emotionally mature qualities that create obsession naturally. Refusal of validation is equally critical. Do not seek constant reassurance from her or anyone else. A man who is internally validated exudes confidence that can't be faked. If she compliments you or challenges your worth, acknowledge it calmly but remain self-contained. Never over-explain, never chase, and never overcompensate. Women are drawn to men who hold their own power effortlessly. That subtle independence sparks curiosity, triggers desire, and strengthens emotional engagement because it challenges her instincts to control or manipulate. Finally, refuse superficial connections. Be selective about who you invest your energy in. If interactions drain you or someone doesn't meet your standards intellectually, emotionally, or morally, withdraw politely but decisively. That selectivity communicates high standards and self-respect. Two qualities women are wired to notice and pursue. By refusing shallow connections, you create invisible tension. She begins to wonder why you are not like other men, why you don't bend to anyone's whims, and her mind begins to focus on you in ways she cannot control. Consistency is the secret source. The moment you act inconsistently, sometimes refusing, sometimes giving in, confusion replaces attraction. Quiet, firm, and consistent refusal forms the psychological framework that makes a woman emotionally invested. Every time she encounters a refusal that aligns with these four principles, tension builds, curiosity spikes, desire intensifies, obsession begins without any overt effort on your part. And remember, this isn't about arrogance or cruelty. It's about mastery. Mastery over yourself, your choices, and your life. Every refusal is a reinforcement of your value, an invisible signal that you cannot be bought, manipulated, or controlled. Women subconsciously recognize this. They feel it emotionally, physiologically, and psychologically. They start thinking about you more than you think they do. They start chasing without realizing why. That's the quiet power of smart men who refuse strategically, a power most men never learn and a power women can't resist. By now, you understand the invisible power of refusal, the way protecting your time, enforcing respect, refusing validation, and avoiding superficial connections transforms your presence in her mind. But here's the deeper truth most men never see. When practiced consistently, these refusals don't just attract women, they create a psychological imprint that lasts. She doesn't just notice you, she thinks about you constantly. She begins to analyze every word, every gesture, every decision, trying to understand why you are so different from every other man she has met. That imprint is the foundation of obsession. Every refusal you make becomes a building block in her subconscious perception of you. She begins to anticipate your reactions, to wonder what choices you'll make next, and to compare other men to you without realizing it. That comparison always favors the man who maintains boundaries, because most men overgive, over-explain, and undervalue themselves. In contrast, you project consistency, self-respect, and emotional maturity, qualities that ignite desire on a deep primal level. She may try to challenge it, test it, or push against it, but the more you maintain your standards quietly and consistently, the stronger her attachment grows. Women are wired to pursue what feels scarce and emotionally unattainable. Refusal is the key that triggers this pursuit naturally. It's not about playing games or creating confusion, it's about self-mastery. When you operate from a place of consistent value, she experiences tension, curiosity, and emotional arousal without even knowing why. She can't help thinking about you, imagining scenarios where you are present in her life, wondering how you live, and comparing her own standards to yours. That mental focus creates emotional dependency on your presence, your attention, and ultimately your approval. The most powerful men understand that attraction is less about what you give and more about what you refuse to give. This is the hidden law of female psychology. Desire grows where availability diminishes. Respect is enforced and value is protected. Women subconsciously feel that you are different, rare, and worthy of pursuit. And the moment you consistently refuse the four things that dilute your power, that magnetism intensifies. She starts craving your attention, your energy, and your presence because you are not easily attainable. And the scarcity of your availability amplifies desire to level most men can't imagine. Now, here's the action step that separates ordinary men from those who become unforgettable. Think about the four things we covered: time, respect, validation, and connection. Ask yourself, where have I been giving too much? Where have I been compromising my principles for temporary approval or comfort? Today, decide to refuse one thing consciously. Protect it, maintain it, and observe how the dynamics around you shift. Watch how attention changes, how attraction grows, and how your presence becomes magnetic without effort. Here's a personal equation for you to answer in the comments. If I protect my time and force respect, I refuse validation V and avoid shallow connections. C, my attraction power, A, gain, and T plus R plus V plus C. Which of these four have you been neglecting the most? And how will you change it starting today? Drop your answer below. Like this video if you found it valuable. Subscribe for more insights and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Women notice smart men, and smart men refuse things that make them weak. Now it's your turn to harness.